What's up, Scrub Hub?
This is the second one. It's pretty good.
Yeah, there we go.
Good for a second one.
Yeah, oh yeah, because we messed up the first one. You guys didn't see that.
Yeah, well, we didn't mess it up because we didn't actually say the Scrub Hub word.
I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, you asked, but yesterday we crushed it for the first time.
I think we crushed it. And yesterday, when we say yesterday, we mean probably last week.
Yeah,
that's
for that.
Okay, let's say that we're gonna have to address this at some point. We're going to have to remember for continuity.
Yeah, what we talked about or whatever.
It doesn't matter if we record 5 episodes in a day, which that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
But if something were like that to happen, we have to remember that we're not in the same week as they're consuming this.
That is correct, because this is a podcast. It's a permanent piece of content.
So
it's just there. You can't do anything.
So when we say yesterday, we mean last week.
Yeah, on last week's episode, we crushed the Scrub Hub intro.
We crushed that was the only part we crushed. Everything else was god awful.
Yeah, it was
we hope you were with us and got through all of it. If you did, I remember.
Yeah,
if you did, there's the thing. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, you should go back and watch the entire episode.
Yeah, I don't even know yet. I don't even know the thing yet.
Dude, I know.
It's a hidden surprise.
So last week was an official introduction to what Scrub Hub is. So real quick recap. We are a podcast for gamers. I think that's the easiest thing currently.
Basically.
Our goal is to come here, sit down, talk video games at least right now, in a book club fashion, meaning we play a game. Hopefully you guys play the game with us to a certain point. Now we sit down and talk about it. And we did that.
Right. And what game did we do that with?
Mortal Shell.
That's right.
Mortal Shell, a Souls-like, but not a Souls game.
It's not Souls. I think that's got to be the most important thing at the start when we're talking about this, is it's not Dark Souls.
So let's talk about Mortal Shell right now. So ideally, we would have told in advance, we're starting this game, we're playing to this point, join us. We didn't do that because this is episode 1.
Right. So there was kind of a release ambiguity.
So we played Mortal Shell from the beginning of the game through the first boss. Because technically, I guess if you're good, you could go somewhere else and play a different boss. We played the same boss.
Yeah.
So
I think it was interesting the way that it was Imrod. That was
Imrod, yeah.
It was the first boss or whatever, and it's interesting because to preface the podcast, I guess, or this episode or playthrough of Mortal Shell, is you've played the game before.
I've played the game before. Yep.
So
I was going to get into all that before we got to the boss, but go for it.
You're right. So, and I think it's interesting to bring up right now because, like you said, we could have gone different directions, but
and I almost did.
Right. And in discussing the game, we kind of talked about how in Souls-like games, sometimes you have so sometimes there's a linear gameplay plan, like Dark Souls 3. It's pretty linear.
I think all the Dark Souls kind of are.
They are. I would say Dark Souls 1 is probably the least linear, but there are difficulty layers to it that will path you into a way to play the game.
Yeah,
but
I agree. I'll agree with that.
But in this game, it's like
Dark Souls now.
I know, dude. Dark Souls it's just, and that's why I said this game's not Dark Souls.
Okay, so let's say this first before we get into the actual game, what we've been playing. What is Mortal Shell if it's not Dark Souls? The closest thing it got to Dark Souls for me is the fact that you're playing a character, you're swinging some weapons, and you're fighting big baddies, and you're rolling and dodging. Like, the combat is very similar, but there's no customization like Dark Souls. So you're not creating your character. There are a grand total of 4 weapons.
Right, yeah.
4 weapons. There's a grand total of 4 shells, which are basically your armor. And they kind of...
your abilities.
And they adjust your abilities, right? So like one shell One, yeah, it's like a class. I think that's fair. Like one gives you more health but less stamina. One gives you less stamina, more health. More stamina, less health. Some gives you more resolve, which you use for like your special abilities.
Right, yeah. Which would require you to play a certain way. Because in order to really utilize your resolve, you need to be really good at parrying. Like, I think for the most part. And that was the biggest defining factor for me in it not being Dark Souls, because granted, so far in Mortal Shell, I've been able to get away with using my iframes and stuff, which I love the feature in this. How you turn to stone. It's so cool. Yeah, it's so cool.
That's another big characteristic. It's kind of like a blocking, guarding, but instead of just dodging, you're basically turning to stone and just taking the hit.
Yes. Yeah, you basically take it. And it's not like I think we'll get into this a little bit more, and I think it's a little unfair at some points to be able to do that, because you're like giving yourself invincibility on timing. So with certain enemies, it was like, I just mapped it out. I was like, I'm just gonna go harden right here, let him hit me, back up, swing, just wash, rinse, and repeat. There was just certain things like that, but
that's what made Imrod easy.
That's definitely what made Imrod pretty easy. Like I verbatim said at one point in that fight, this is an embarrassingly easy fight right now.
I've lost the first time.
Did you? I think it's because
I immediately went in. I'm like, what? Dead. I was like,
yeah, you probably got killed pretty quickly, but it didn't take me very long to figure out that I could just keep backstepping, and there's no way that if I held back on the controller the whole time that he'd be able to hit me.
Yeah.
So in terms of it being different from Dark Souls, for me, I realized very early in the game that parrying was what they wanted you to do. They did not necessarily want you rolling, although with Aerodrome, it's a little.
I don't have them yet.
It's a little bit further, which again, Souls games, you can go so many different directions sometimes. But he does actually allow a first B button roll that I picked up on. He does not have the iframe like go to stone and like dodge thing and then roll. His first B button is actually a roll, like Dark Souls.
Oh, he immediately just rolls.
Yes, I picked up on that so fast because I was like, whoa, this feels comfortable. This is how I play Dark Souls games. Is I use iframes on rolls and I get out and stuff. So that was a big learning curve.
Because like in order for me to roll, I'm rolling. I'm using Solomon, which is the it's like second. It's like the second one.
Yeah.
That you can get the second shell.
Pseudo second shell.
Yeah, because you could technically get anyone second.
Mm-hmm.
Heck, you could get none of them if you really chose to, and you could get anyone first. It's really easy to miss the first one. I did
for a long time.
I did. I turned right. There's a path, and left. Boom. There's a shell. Right is where you're going into the game. Totally didn't go left.
Yeah,
and
you could just straight miss it.
But yeah, the roll, like the first roll. In order to roll, you have to double tap.
Right.
And the first tap turns you like it's like a step. He does this step, but he turns the stone.
It's actually interesting because there's actually different ways I think you can utilize the B button, the first initial B button, because I picked up on like how you were saying it's a step. It's like a
it's almost like a quick
sidle. Like, is that how you shuffle? Like a shuffle?
Maybe.
But you can.
I would say it's a quick step.
You got a quick step. You can actually do it forward. You can do it forward into your swing, which is what I started to do with the initial weapon. Is you forward step B, start to swing immediately, so you have iframes on your swing, because you go into the swing with. So if someone's coming at you and you just quick step forward and swing at them, more often than not, it only works with your quick swing though. Because your hard swing is a little slow.
But you're using the broadsword, right?
Yes. Okay. Like the main weapon.
So there's a broadsword, there's a long sword, there's a mace, big giant mace.
I don't have the fourth weapon yet.
And there's
I found it.
Hammer and chisel.
Yeah.
Which is a really fast
it's like the dexterity weapon.
Yeah. Which I think my first initial playthrough, that's ultimately what I picked.
Really?
I think. I don't remember.
I can see how speed can very quickly be abused.
It's fast, but it's not strong.
Right.
But so what you're utilizing the quick step forward. I'm actually a big fan right now of the sprint heavy attack. with the broadsword. So he like jumps, he's like swinging down, and then freaking harden.
Oh yeah.
And so you're just frozen.
Have you got that ability
hits
yet?
you, and it's like boom, and just hits him right afterward.
Have you got that ability?
Which ability?
Like, so in your menu, I've noticed that. So
each character is different too, because you're running a different shell than I am.
I'm wearing Aerodrim right now. I was using the normal one, Harrows, and then I found Solomon. I was like, yo, Solomon's cool.
Teal's the is I think the Dex.
Yeah, it's the last one.
Super quick.
And I haven't got that one yet. But then now I'm using Aerodrim because the roll. Because that makes sense. Like cutting out that step thing, it is cool. But if I can just roll and get iframes on a normal roll, I'm way better at utilizing that for sure.
And what are his abilities?
Right. So his abilities for him he's like the tank. So he gets like bonus HP, I think at certain points, like more stamina. He's stronger at certain points. But like you said, each of the 4 shells has their own like class features to them, I guess you can call them. But at the bottom, they each have the 3 same.
Yeah,
so like the kick.
Now, here's a question. You may know this. I don't know. If you buy one of those 3,
they're individual.
It's individual, so they're not permanent unlocks.
And I'm a little bummed on it.
That is
because I thought about that too. Because I hadn't purchased one of those yet because they're pretty expensive. The one with the last
kick
chance
is like $1,100.
Yeah, in the last chance one, because I stumbled across. Again, it's so. I knew it was a Souls game, so I wasn't. Let me say this: I wasn't using a lot of items. I haven't used an effigy yet.
I don't know where to put my hands.
Right? What do I do with my hands?
What do I do?
But like, I haven't used an effigy yet because I thought it was like the ember, like to get it. Clearly, that's what it is. It's like to get your shell back at instantaneous. But similar with like the glimpses and stuff in this game, it doesn't necessarily initially tell you what the item does. You have to use it to discover
I love it.
So for a while, I wasn't using any items at all. And at one point, I was like, I'm just going to try what these things are. I've got to figure out what they are at some point. And I ended up with like 30 glimpses because I finally used all my glimpses and all my tar and everything.
The glimpses make sense.
I didn't know. I literally didn't touch them for the longest time because I didn't understand the lore of what a glimpse was. But then I finally caught on. I was like, okay, this is a currency. So I ended up with a ton and I bought the last chance one for Harrows, and I was like, yo, that's cheat codes to get another last chance.
Oh yeah, because that allows you to like, right? So you start with full health in a shell, right? Then you get knocked out of the shell.
Yeah, that's the important thing. We should bring that up.
Then you get knocked. If you lose all your health, you get knocked out of the shell. So now you're a foundling is what you're called.
Yes,
and you can get back into the shell, which gives you full health again. But if you get knocked out again, game over. You start over. You get resurrected. Is the last chance an additional?
Yes.
On top of?
Yeah. If you get the last chance ability, you do get an additional try.
Pro tip. Okay. Ready for this?
Yeah.
Going into a boss. The first time you go into a boss, if you die, you'll go back in, right? As you're fighting again, and your shell will be there. If your health gets low, then pick up the shell. Because you'll get full health, then get knocked out, then be able to get back in.
I was literally gonna say this too, like, and that's a good lead up too. So how your shell stays there for some weird reason, and you can pick it up later.
Yeah, just like Dark Souls.
Use the True Nectar. So you go in, use True Nectar to kick yourself out of your shell, and then use an effigy to give your shell back. Does that work? So you have a standing shell in at the beginning of the fight.
You could, but you're sacrificing your last chance.
The
nectar will knock you out.
Wait, does that count as a death?
It counts as you being kicked out of the shell. It counts as one full life bar.
So what is the point in the True Nectar then?
I have no idea.
I feel like there's got to be some kind of like.
So let's talk about items again real quick. So on my stream, literally today, I finished the segment of the game we were talking about. I got to Imran and I got to the end and I'm like, you know what? I have these items. I haven't gone through them. I'm going to use them. I'm going to figure out what they do. And you have familiarity with an item. So one of the big things that I was like, I was in that tomb the other day and I ate one of those mushrooms
that
poisoned me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what is the point of this? I'm like, this is the
I still don't
worst
know.
thing ever. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to eat all these mushrooms. Once you get max familiarity with those mushrooms, 120 seconds protection from poison.
Oh, shit. That's crazy.
Yeah, instead of the like 40 seconds of poison damage that you take just for eating one, you get 2 minutes.
That's cool.
2 minutes protection from poison.
That's so clutch. Like, I'm going to go do that on my game now.
And so almost everything is like that from what I've seen. If it costs health, I think one item, I think it might be like moonshine.
Yeah, the moonshine.
I think it costs you resolve, but you gain stamina, I think.
Yeah, so you do have this interesting thing where resolve is basically MP. It's basically magic. So you're trading between the trifecta, like health to like stamina to magic to health, and then you have like the interminglings of that.
Yeah, it's super weird. So I think the moonshine, when you get the familiarity up, I think you get the same stamina boost
without the drawback,
with less.
Okay,
like I think it's less.
Yeah, okay.
Everything, like you either keep the bonus or you get a better bonus, and the boon is less impactful.
I see.
Except for the poison one, that's dope.
yeah, that's just free.
2 minutes of free poison. Like
I did that a little bit. So I got to a point I did that where I ate the tar spore. I was like, dude, why is this happening to me right now? So at some point, that's when I went back and I was like, I'm just gonna stand by Janessa, but I love Cester, excuse me.
Cester
Janessa. I like her as like like your, what would you call like your your AI, your Siri?
She's
your
literally
helper.
Yeah, I was gonna say she's also literally your bonfire.
Yeah,
she's your checkpoint.
Yeah, which that's really cool. That's a cool different feature of this game that's different from typical Souls games, is that
well, not really.
Your leveling up part is, well, I mean, you can always just go back to your bonfire, like all the way back to home, but you can level up or do things like that, spend your tar on the go like that. You don't have to go all the way back or use a homeward bone or a mask, an untarnished mask, to go back to do those things.
Have you used the untarnished mask?
I've used it once because I had to.
Untarnished or the tarnished?
I used once.
Two different.
Yeah, I used the untarnished one once when I had to, and I've used the tarnished one once when I had to.
Because I know the tarnished mask takes away all your glimpses.
All glimpses, which is
all
harsh.
Glimpses are gone, and that's necessary for level ups. Like, not only do you need the tar, like souls,
but you
glimpses. Also have to have glimpses to get whatever the ability is, and some of those are expensive, and glimpses are not easy to get unless you're running Solomon.
Yeah, you can get them pretty quickly with Solomon. You can also do interesting. Well, no, he's the one where you can read inscriptions and stuff and get a glimpse, and then he's also got an ability where every time you get a glimpse, you have a chance to get health. Like,
see, is it a chance to get health? I was thinking every time I got
to get health.
I was like, every time.
So
because one of his abilities is when you harden, it starts on a countdown timer, and if you kill an enemy while that countdown, they have an increased chance to drop a glimpse.
Right.
So that's crazy. And then I know, like, if you pick up a glimpse, I'm pretty sure he gains health, but it might be a chance.
Yeah.
Because I picked up a glimpse and I had no health and I didn't gain any health.
Yeah.
I was upset.
There was a couple cool things I really liked, because clearly he's like the pseudo healer class, kind of like, because he's got a couple of additional healing abilities and stuff like that. But I loved how they made that class prevalent without being like, hey, I'm a white mage, because he's clearly like still an ass beater.
There's zero magic in this game.
There is zero magic. There's no magic. So that's what I was saying. Your resolve is like, it's not magic, but it's treated in some ways with like the boon style, like take this and then get this.
Yeah,
it's treated that way.
We're gonna talk about this. Maybe Solomon's offering. No. The gland, right?
What about it?
The gland upgrades your seal, right? So the first gland, and it allows you to instead of the heal on your repost, on your block and parry and stab, you gain health. The gland from Imrod specifically which we'll get more into that too, allows you to, when you parry them, you jab them right after, and instead of gaining health, it injects them with a larva, and the larva explodes.
Oh, I remember that. Okay, that's right. I was gonna say, like, I don't remember the upgrade thing.
That's your magic. Like, that's essentially your magic.
So it's like abilities.
Different abilities, and you can change those on the fly.
Yeah, those are cool too. I also like how you can't, like...
The inscriptions. Have you used the inscriptions? So, the scriptures of whatever?
Oh, yes, like randomly. Yeah, like, because to upgrade your tarnish seal or whatever to do different things. I'm terrible at pairing. So I haven't...
They're so good. I didn't know what they did until today when I was testing the items.
Mm-hmm.
And I put all of them on me at one time because I was just going through and I had like this huge bar of just things.
That's funny.
I went down and like parried one guy. All kinds of stuff happened. Dude. It was wild. It was really cool.
Yeah, I bet you can get some like pretty crazy effects when you just stack shit like that.
Yeah. So I mean, it'll be good to keep track. Some of them were like bonus tar. So.
Oh, that's cool.
Like
I like that.
It's like one of them was like 25%. I think bonus tar on kills.
Right. Yeah.
For like 6 minutes.
Yeah, that bell thing. I think that's like similar.
It's a bells. Yeah, it's a bells.
I like. It's funny. They're similar to coins in Dark Souls. How you pick up a coin and you use it, and you get additional like souls or whatever for extended period of time. But it's different in this game. It almost makes it feel like I just want to go into like a dungeon brawl like style gameplay where I'm just running and trying to murder everything as fast as I can. Yeah. Because tar, it seems like it is like hard to come by a little bit in this game.
It is. I think enemies give you like 20 and 30 and maybe 50. And so but then I also find myself, I'm like, I was trying to get quenching acids, which make your whatever weapon you're choosing to use stronger.
Yeah.
And I was like, I need quenching acid. And I was playing and I was like, I'm close to 2,500. I can go back to the shop and get one because he has 2. I was like, okay, I'll get one. And I was like, I won't grind for the other one. And then I hit a point where I'm like, holy crap, I almost have enough. And then I went back and got it.
Right. Oh, you bought both of them already?
I bought both, yeah.
Dude, I haven't even bought one from him yet.
Dang, and you still have 4 though.
Yeah, I've found all of mine. Like, I haven't...
I think there are... I want to say there's at least 20 in the game.
Probably enough to like upgrade
there's at least
every
20.
Weapon.
I believe you're able to upgrade every weapon to its max.
Yeah.
But so anything else you want to say real quick?
Real quick, I like how in this game,
and positive things.
Positive. So one thing I like is it's very cool. In this game, how we were discussing, you have shells, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can change your shell, like on a whim, right?
With the effigies.
With the effigies, right? Oh, I get. You know what? I guess I haven't actually changed my shell with effigies yet. Like I haven't actually. I've found my shells.
Have the shells
to use the effigy,
and
right?
you have to have. I think you have to have their name. Which is the first upgrade.
Yeah, it's like the first upgrade is you learn the name, which is cool. I think that's dope.
I mean, lore-wise. And then from then, you can use the effigy to change your shell.
Okay. So basically, so far, I haven't used any of those, and I've just been using the shell that I found. And now I'm for sure going to stick with Aerodrome because I've been waiting to find the tanky guy because that's usually the kind of class I play. But...
like, he has, like, 3 resolve bars.
Yeah.
But a lot more health.
Yeah, he uses a ton of health, and he's pretty strong. And he's got the roll. That roll thing is like critical. It was almost like a nod to like Dark Souls players because usually you just don't use a shield, no pairing, just roll around and then hit them. But so that's how you change your shell. Use effigies and stuff like that, and you can do that on whim as long as you have the effigy to do so. You can also go back to the temple and select your shell that way.
You can do that and your weapons. Yep.
Right, but you don't. In other games that are like this, you usually just open your menu and change your equipment that way. You don't have like armor in this game, right? You don't have like helmets or like gauntlets.
Zero customization.
Zero customization. It's just your shell. But the way that you change your weapon out is if I have the starting weapon and I go to the section where you find the mace and I drop my mace there, or I drop my sword there to swap for the mace. I'm like, all right, I'm going to rock the mace for a second. And I go down and I walk to where the hammer and chisel is, right?
Mm-hmm.
I can't just like pick up the sword there. Like if I have the mace, I have to like if I want to swap my weapon, I have to take that hammer and chisel right there, or I have to walk all the way back to either the temple,
or where you got
or to where I had my sword. So that's kind of how you swap your equipment out. It's like it pulls back from the menuing a lot, and I like that.
And which I think's fine. In my opinion, like this game is pretty much your first playthrough at least is you find a weapon you like and you're comfortable with.
Right, and you stick with it.
That's what you stick with.
Right.
But so we're going to take a small break, right?
Right.
And then we're going to come back and we're going to talk about what we don't like.
Yeah, there's definitely some stuff.
But we're also going to talk about the boss because we haven't talked about that yet.
Right. We need to talk about Emerald.
And so with the last minute, so our goal was beginning of the game to Emerald. The next time we sit down, if you guys are watching this episode, we've probably already done this, but ideally we're going to go from after Emerald now to the end of the game. So next time we come back, we should have beaten it.
Right.
But we're going to talk about what we don't like.
Yeah, what we don't like about so far.
What's up, Scrub Hub? Go for it.
Thank you so much for tuning in today and enjoying the episode with us. This episode today is currently brought to you by you.
You watching right now.
That's right. We don't currently have any sponsors of this ad, but people like you listen to it is why we're here and making it possible. But if you are interested in sponsoring,
do it.
Just do it.
Get good.
Let's
jump back into it.
Welcome back.
Yes, welcome back. Anyway, so the bad things, but let's talk about getting the first boss.
Right.
Getting to the first boss was a journey and a pain in the butt. How did you like that dungeon? So the dungeon consists of two parts. The first part with had a couple ghosts, kind of like knights and stuff.
Yeah.
And then eventually you got into the actual fire.
Yeah, I was going to say the first part of it is a little weary to me. I don't remember as much. I remember the knights and stuff
it's small.
But the fiery part is the part that I remember the most. Which I guess because we're going to talk about primarily the things that we don't like, but we haven't been able to say too much about what we like about the dungeon and the boss fight.
Right, and that's why I kind of want to go into the boss fight, and then because after the boss fight, I know that part of the game is the most stressful, the most irritating.
So
I think that's a good start to go into what we don't like. So let's get up to the boss fight.
Yeah. So getting up to it, like I said, the initial part of the dungeon I don't remember too much. It was pretty small, and it's
the smallest dungeon out of all three.
Yeah, it's pretty not that much different. I mean, it's a little different from what you've experienced so far. It's not too far off though. Well, as soon as you get to the fireplace, it's pretty cool.
Oh, I mean, it changes. So you go from fighting these normal enemies, which at my point, 2 light slashes, doom, they're done.
Yeah.
And to these bigger, bulkier knights that have a shield that are super annoying. You can deal with them, cool. Once you get to the fire side, you have these dual-bladed freaking demons.
Yeah, those things at first, I actually didn't die to it. I think I died the first time. It was super close, but I had multiple enemies on me, which is a big thing in this game. It is oftentimes when you're one-on-one with an enemy, it's so easy. It's cheese. It's almost free. All you have to do is harden yourself at the right times or whatever, backstep, hit them again or whatever.
Yeah.
But they utilize in this game bombarding you with enemies because and we'll talk about this a little bit later when getting back to the temple, because that's when it really matters.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But they will hit you with sometimes 2 big dudes that use almost like your Black Knight, because you have the Eldritch Knight comparison. That's the Silver Knight. He's smaller. He's got a smaller normal shield, still a little
and then
annoying.
You have the 2 that
big guys that use a single weapon,
the flame sword, they come down and hit you
with
fire.
Yeah,
those were annoying.
So you'll get 2 of those and then 3 little guys all at the same time, and it's not you can in some ways leash enemies.
I cheese the crap out of it.
Yeah, so I'm gonna leash my enemies because I've played Dark Souls a lot.
I
know
literally
how to work it.
What I would do, this is so cheesy, I would wait until they started walking towards me, and then since we're using the same sword, I would charge a heavy swing. I wouldn't move, charge it, so he pulls back, and then kind of lunges forward, and then harden.
Yeah.
And just wait. They literally will just walk right into it, just take damage.
Exactly. It's just some of the things in the AI is kind of dumb. A lot of it, but like I said, they try to bombard you with multiple enemies at one time in very tight quarters, which is another thing. Is like,
yeah, and the lock-on system is not phenomenal.
It's not wonderful because sometimes it's a little wonky, but I think a big separating factor outside of, like we said before, it's not Dark Souls. I think you should know that before going into it, because me being a victim of that is like, sometimes you play a Souls-like game and you're like, man, this basically is like Dark Souls. It's just like a little cheap, so I'm just going to play Dark Souls instead. But this game was its own thing, and the combat is different, it's intuitive and whatnot. I think if you like Dark Souls, I think you should check out Mortal Shell. You should for sure, but one of the major differences in the fighting is that you don't have breathing room, especially when there's so many enemies coming at you from so many different angles, because this game utilizes being bombarded with like a lot of different stuff. So there was so many times where I was like one example that actually frustrated me quite a bit, because it was an error with the AI and with camera angles. I had two enemies that were like following me. I was low in health. I wanted to heal, because you can basically cheese Janisa and just go back to her like super quick, heal up, go back out, and just do that. So I was trying to heal, but two enemies had actually followed me back a super long way, and it's right at the beginning of Emeralds. And you know how when you're going into an entrance somewhere, like to the next area, it does that weird camera angle thing where it actually changed the camera angle, but you're still in control.
Yeah.
That happened to me, and I was like the movement got weird because my control had changed because the camera angle changed.
Right.
So then I got locked out of my movement, and I was messed up, and then I got murdered because the camera angle got messed up, and it was close quarters, and the enemy.
And it's all because they followed you. Right?
It was that bombardment, like AI, how like they will follow you. If you like aggro some enemies, they literally won't leave you alone. They will follow you until they die.
I've never seen anything just stop. You either get away from them completely and go to a completely different area, or they will follow you.
Right. So the geography of this game is super dense. It's incredibly dense and hard to maneuver around sometimes because it's tricky, but it's also super close quarters too, and it's tight. So as compared to Dark Souls is a very open game. There's a lot of breathing room. There's some close quarters.
There's some close quarters, but unless you're in like Dark Souls is a good example, like Catacombs.
That's what I was thinking. Unless you're in Catacombs, it's very
Everything's
open.
pretty open.
Yeah, it's very open. You can breathe. You can get
take
your
enemies
footing
on one-on-one.
You can leash enemies very easily.
Couple instances.
In this, we were actually discussing one of your other friends playing this game, and the thing he didn't like is the enemies being placed in a certain way that would trap you. So
he hated the part we're about to talk about.
Right. So there's two different instances in which I can recall this being a main thing. The first one that was the most, or you know, the second one, because it wasn't really that big of a deal. We're about to talk about that. The first time I noticed it though, enemy placement being huge, was, I mean, clearly there was enemies that would like jump behind doors and try to get you. That's gonna happen.
Of course, they try to get you with that.
But the fire goblet dudes,
the guys in the
they were like the big
cauldrons.
Yes,
the cauldron dudes. Those guys suck.
They suck. They don't take anything to kill though.
Nope. If you can hit them, they're dead.
Right.
But they're fireball after fireball after fireball.
So fast, dude. And it's like the enemy placement there was so good. Like, and it's frustrating for me as a player because like I kept on getting murdered by it. But like they did so well with that. Like,
dude, like
bombarding
you had
the player, man,
and it made you so for this room. So this dungeon. There are 2, 3 shortcut doors, I think. 2 or 3.
Yeah.
And you can get to one, cool, you open it, cool, whatever. The other ones you have to come around the backside. And you have to go through that room you're talking about with these cauldron guys. So you walk in, there's 2 guys and the cauldron. And then there's a fallen down like wall to his right. Yeah. So you have to go around, and there's another guy sitting there.
Cauldron dude.
And you're like, oh my God, I got to get away from these. These guys are just chucking fireballs at you. So you have 2 options. You continue farther into the level, or you try to go for the shortcut door. Go for the shortcut door. We're like, yes, You get up these steps, freaking there's a knight there, and right inside there's 2 more guys and another cauldron dude. Bro, I ran straight to the shortcut door, almost died, got out, and then picked everything off slowly.
And I think that's a great.
It was intense.
That I think you guys should remember saying that, because in Dark Souls games, you oftentimes learn you can run, but the game's not really incentivizing you to run or giving you like telling you either need to stand and fight right now or you need to go, because you feel safe.
Oh
in
yeah,
Dark Souls when you run away. In this game, you sometimes really do need to learn how to run to realize you should not fight right now. You need to keep running.
I agree. But I feel like there's a really nice balance where it's like I need to run to get where I need to go or what I need to do, like the shortcut door. But you need to fight.
Then you need to find your footing. Like you need to run, find your footing, but then you have to turn around and fight, which I think is going to be a big topic in the next section, after the Emerald fight, because that was basically that whole section. That was the entirety of that section for me. But
so
what do you think about the Emerald fight, though?
So we immediately go through all this stuff, and speaking of running, so you go into this place, and you walk in, and there's 2 big steps going down. And then there's a guy with dual blades.
Yeah, the fire dual blade dude.
And I was like, okay, cool. And then immediately something else gets summoned right there. And I'm like, no, bro, I'm not doing this. So then you run up and there's a chalice. Right?
Yeah.
And then so you drink the chalice. You're like, oh, spoilers about this game. I think we should say that.
It's evident. It's going to be filled with spoilers.
So you drink this chalice and it immediately drops you an Emerald. So he's this guy. He's like burning the crap out of these enemies that he's fought. Yeah. He turns around and he comes on you. Comes at you.
Don't clip that. That's so funny.
But so he comes at you and I immediately died because I was already just whittled down from the groups of enemies that we just encountered. And so he beat me. It starts me back over at Cesar Genessa, and I pretty much run, and I did the shortcut, so I just ran past all those enemies, got to the boss. And so with full health, beat him first try. Yeah. With full health and the last chance. Well, the normal one you get. Beat him first try. He's pretty basic. I almost died because you fight him, and he's like, he does a couple swing animations. He has a really heavy over animation. That's it. He's very basic.
I saw maybe like 4 moves. He's got like 3 basic moves, and then he has his like last chance move where it's like a small weird sweep thing.
Yep. So I mean, you have a couple things. You can dodge it. I would wait. You learn he swings, then he swings again. So I would do a jumping slash, boom, boom. He goes to hammer down, harden, triple slash into him, rinse, repeat. Cool. Then I killed him. Then he came back to life.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, I forgot. Yeah. I forgot he came back to life. I freaked out. And he added 1 extra move, I think.
Yeah, that was like his last ditch.
Beat him again. Cool. Got the tar from him. Just an item, which is super nice. Hard souls were great in Dark Souls. Hard tar is great.
Yeah.
In Mortal Shell. Because you can easily lose the few 100 or 1,000 that you've gained, but if you have the hard stuff, it's super good. Then the game goes. It was okay. I want to say this because I was telling you earlier. The game changes genres almost.
A little bit, yeah.
You go from
the game plan changes.
You go from going in, fighting through this thing because we're talking about when to fight and when to run, and you get what is called a gland. And this gland is just this thing that you you rip out of this corpse, and the game changes. A dark fog settles on the land.
Literally.
Demons are summoned around you. Your job is to run.
Yeah, I was not convinced.
That is your job.
Yeah, I was not at all convinced after the Emerald fight. For a moment, I was just trying to run back because I wanted to go back now that I finally fought my first boss. I wanted to upgrade everything.
Mm-hmm.
But I slowly started to realize, I was like, oh shit, like all these enemies are different. Like
the enemies change.
All the fire dudes that have the 2 swords, there was like 4 more of them. Like in weird
way
places.
More of them. The specters are back, and there's many of them. All the humans are changed into those. I called them liquor ripoffs because they look like liquors from Resident Evil.
Oh,
but I don't know what they're actually called. All those humans are changed to that. They're everywhere.
Yeah,
they're god awful.
It just, you can literally tell a difference, and like you could have, I guess, stayed and fight, and you did have a Sester Janessa to heal from. Like there was a like small save spot, but let's bear in mind that this game, like, you can't upgrade anything from that point. You need to be back at specific points to upgrade things. So
yeah,
you spend all that time fighting to get to Emerald. You beat him, and then you go to you can use a mask. It does give you a mask, to be fair. There's an item right there that gives you an untarnished mask.
Oh, so you can save your glimpses.
So you can save your glimpses after the fight.
But that will only take you back to Janessa.
That's what I was going to say. It only takes you back to the last Janessa that you visited. It doesn't take you back to the temple, because in the next section, the real pain in the butt, because this part's a little, it just made you realize you need to run, for me anyway. But the next section is like, it was a mess. It was an actual mess.
Which section? Like, what are you talking about?
I'm talking about making it back to the temple. Once we made it back to like Outworld or Fulgrim.
Oh, Fulgrim is,
dude,
it's crazy.
We've got so Emerald for me as a fight is so, like you said, it's pretty corn. You know, it was so easy to pick up on. I literally just held back on the control stick, didn't get hit, held R for my strong swing, hit him once, hit him twice with it, and then I would go in harden, let him hit me, back up, let him do the 2 swings.
Yep, rinse, repeat.
Yep, just kept doing that. And I even was like, I can pull it up right now. I said, is that it at the end of the fight? And I was like, oh, okay, he's got a second phase. And then I beat that one too. And I was like, dude, why is it that 6 hours into this game? It was like 5 hours.
Dude,
5 or 6
probably
hours.
Have that 5 or 6, yep.
Why is it I'm just now hitting like the first boss? Because like Grisha, earlier on, you guys, like if you're playing along, you'll notice that there are a few mini bosses you can run into that aren't even, you kind of question whether or not you need to kill them or not. You're like, is this important?
You should.
Or it's
I want to say you should.
You should try to figure out how to kill it or whatever, or like try to learn the combat to like beat those enemies early on, because there's a couple nice items you can get, like the first spike.
The first spike is important.
Yes, it's a big upgrade, and it can change. Well, you know what? That's interesting, because that was an ability. It was an ability item. I don't even use that ability very much. I just need the swinging.
It's so good.
I don't even use it. See, because I'm a Dark Souls player. I don't use abilities. I don't use weapon arts, because it's like a weapon art.
Let's say this. So the spike allows you with the longsword, basically the end of your sword. He flips the sword around, and a big giant spike comes out of the thing. This animation takes 5, 6, 7 seconds to complete. You're invincible the entire time.
Oh, are you?
It's 100% iframes. From the moment you tap both buttons to the moment you get control again, you're invincible.
See, that changes things a little bit.
And on Emerald, at least with a 4 out of 5 weapon, at least 20% health.
That's pretty crazy.
And most enemies, normal enemies, it'll kill instantly.
Right. Like those little dudes. And
so you should be if you have the resolve, except you're using Aerodrim, or he only has 3 resolve, right?
Yeah, he doesn't use a lot of resolve. So he's the kind of
like Solomon
that
has 5.
You know what? That's something to speak on this game, I will say, because
we're supposed to be talking about what we don't like.
Yeah, what we don't like, but you know, we're positive people. I just like, you know, celebrating a game for what it does correctly. But I haven't been able to experience it too much, because I had just picked up Aerodrim as I stopped playing, because I knew that I was a little bit further than you. So I was like, okay, I'm going to slow down a little bit so we can keep up.
Yeah, because we wanted to just be in the same spot.
Right.
As we talked about it.
And I want it to be fresh in my mind. But, dude, I congratulate them so much for offering me as a Dark Souls player, like, strictly, because I don't like Bloodborne very much. I haven't played
Demon Souls?
No, I played Demon Souls.
Demon Souls is great.
What's the new? It's like where you're like the ninja.
Oh, Sekiro.
I haven't played Sekiro yet.
Game is so hard.
So see, games like that, I don't like the parry. I don't like those. I like the way that Dark Souls is built. I like the way that it's just built and it plays the way that I like.
Probably like Sekiro.
I've seen it. I think it looks super dope. But like, I congratulate and compliment the creators of Mortal Shell so much for offering me, like, they had their own little style, like with Harrows. I think that was probably the core of Mortal Shell. It's like, that's the idea of how we want the game to be played, is to use that shell. That's the basis. And then you can go to Solomon. There's different ways. And this other guy, I don't know the last one's name.
Teal.
Is his name just Teal? So, you know, you have features there. But for Aerodrim, I applaud and compliment them a lot for giving the Dark Souls players like a way to play their game or whatever, instead of like forcing them to use this parry and stuff like that. There's now a way for me to play the game without it. And I feel like,
and I think the parry is important, but I think it's fair that you can play however you want. So while there's not customization, there is customization
in a really good way.
If you need more health, boom, you have it. If you need more stamina, boom, you have it. If you want to be fast, boom, you have it. If you want different weapons, you have them.
Yeah.
So it's cool. So let's jump back into the after Emerald. So after Emerald, your goal is to get out of the temple you're in. The I forget what it's called, cathedral-ish space. Did you have a problem getting out?
I booked it. I literally didn't stop.
See, so
I just ran.
The very first
because I stopped and collected everything first.
The very first time I played this game, so last year sometime, my experience was vastly different than my experience today.
Ooh, excuse me.
Today that we're recording this, I played earlier today.
Right.
And got to the point. The very first time I ever played this, it was the most stressful moment that I remember in Mortal Shell. I'm talking, I'm booking out of it. I'm running. Enemies are coming at me all like crazy.
Right.
Didn't happen. Like, I'm running past and they're just specters just sitting there.
Dude, I noticed that a couple, like the specters, I ran past one of them. I was like, that enemy didn't even look at me.
Dude, I actually stopped at one point. I'm like, what's he doing? And as soon as I stopped, he's like, and came after me. I'm like, oh God, no! And I'm running out.
Funny.
But once you get out of the cathedral or whatever the place is called, the catacomb, once you get out,
that's when it becomes a problem.
The enemies, again, like I said, are no longer the humanish people. They're these weird, crazy monsters that will like jump on you. They will jump on you from like 100 feet away. And they are everywhere. And they're not only in the places where all the humans were before, they're in all kinds of new places.
New places, dude.
Several of them.
And you can't see anything.
And I don't know if you had this problem. When I got back to the tower, the game doesn't tell you to go back to the tower.
Yeah, it's an assumption because you collected the gland.
You have the gland.
And you can return it to the guy.
Okay. I forgot. I'm like,
oh, you didn't talk to him.
Dude, well, you have to because that's how you get the seal.
Oh, you forgot. Okay.
But I completely forgot where to go. Like, I knew I had to get back to the tower, but my brain was like, okay, I'm back at the tower. So I immediately started talking to Janessa, and stuff's like coming in the doors. I'm like, where do I go? Dude, what do I do? Dude. I was freaking out. So that was a little thing. And then I ran up the stairs and there he was. And it's like, boom. Okay, cool. That's the most stressful. It's the most annoying. It only gets worse from my recollection. But this was different than the very first time I played. So I don't know. Now, did you realize that's it. That's where we're at. We're both at the tower. We're both, you played a little bit farther.
Yeah, I'm a little bit further than that, but I mean not too much.
So that's our experience so far. You know you can call the fog.
Yes, I did figure that you can call it, and I realized why you would do that. Like, because there's a lot of like the loot changes. Literally, if it's not evident enough that we haven't made this clear, that when the fog comes, like after you collect the gland,
yep.
Everything change. Like literally, spawn points that enemies change. Yep. The enemies themselves change. The loot changes.
Crazier. And there's these treasure chests that look like lizard things.
Yes, that you can now open.
That you can open during the fog.
Which you can't. You'll notice that when you're playing initially, you're going to run into a lot of chests that you can't open. You're like, why can't I open these? It's because you need to be in the fog to open them. But when you're in the fog, the fog is super dense. You can't see anything.
It's annoying.
These enemies that we're talking about, like the little like swamp monster things that like latch onto you, the leech monsters or whatever, they can barely be. They're pretty hard to see. like naturally in the
and
game.
They drop on you.
But in this, like in the fog, you can definitely not see them far away. And you get a little bit of a warning. Your tarnished seal will pop off a little bit before it drops on you. But if you're actually sprinting and holding forward, they'll actually just drop on you and you could die like super quick out of nowhere.
They'll kill you fast.
And is to bring it back, the geography in Fulgrim is so dense and windy.
Oh, if you don't know
there's
where
no
you're
map.
going,
There's no map in this game, dude. So you get out there. I thought I was confused. I spent like 5 minutes changing the settings of my game because I thought something was messed up with like the fog density or something. It's not. So I started playing and these enemies started popping up. I was like, okay, something's for sure different here. Something's not right. And I was like, okay, I've learned at this point, sometimes in this game you just need to run. So I started running. But this is at this point where the AI doesn't stop. Like if for as many AI as you trigger, like those enemies, they all fall. They will not stop.
And they're in hordes. I was gonna say,
they're like hordes of 4.
Instead of dealing with like one guy here, one guy here, one guy here, you're dealing with 3, 3, and 3.
Yeah, so it's literally 3 groups of 3.
It's nuts.
So you guys can go back on my episode. It's literally probably on YouTube right now. Actually,
by the time you're hearing this, our stuff should be on YouTube.
Yeah, it'll be on YouTube. I think for this section for my video, it's episode, I want to say 3 or 4 for reference. If you guys want to go back and like check the footage or whatever.
Based on mine, it'll probably be episode like 10 or 11.
10 or 11. Okay, so at this point, I was like, okay, this game has already shown me that I need to run sometimes. Sometimes I have to run. Sometimes you just got to go.
Yep.
And I started to do that, but I realized, oh shit, these enemies are not following me. They're not stopping. So I got cornered at some point and I had to stop and let like enemies come in. And at some point it really is like over. There'll be like 9 enemies trying to kill you and you have to actually fight out of it.
Oh yeah, you have to fight or you're done.
It's not like the game's like, okay, that's a little
because even
unfair.
If you go to talk to like Janessa and they're there, they will kill you.
They will kill you. Like, but if you get into the menu fast enough, they will go away.
Will they?
Yeah.
I haven't experienced that.
Yeah, if you get into the menu fast enough, but Janessa also sometimes has lag on her text and her speech dialogue coming through to give you the menu item to actually go in to sip. So sometimes in that, like, they will come up and continue. They can knock you out of the conversation.
Yeah, and that's a pain.
Yeah.
So, real quick. So I think that pretty much wraps up that. But let's take another quick break.
Right.
Come right back. Final thoughts. And tell them what we're doing next.
Sounds great.
What's up, Scrub Hub? Thanks again so much for hanging out with us and watching or listening to us on everywhere that you can watch and listen.
That's right.
Except for your TV at home.
Yeah, not on networks.
I mean, you could watch it on your TV if you have a smart TV or you have your computer hooked up or like
technology
stuff. Anyway, thanks so much. We want to take this moment to say thank you and tell you guys where to find us currently. Right now, we're going to plug ourselves. That's not the plan for the future. We want to plug other people here. But
for right now, it's just us.
This is where to find us. You can also find this stuff in the description below. Pants, where can they find you?
They can find me on Twitch. It's NevrEndingPants. I stream Monday, Thursday, Saturday, 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. roughly. That changes sometimes, but you can also find my Discord on my different socials and whatnot. Twitter, it's NevrEndingPants without the second E in never. You can find the link below. Nice. And that's basically it. YouTube, normal stuff.
Cool. And I can be found on Twitch, RxBishop MD with underscores in between the words. On Twitch, on YouTube, on Instagram, all the things, descriptions down below. I stream by the time this is out every day.
Every day.
I'll be streaming, well, almost every day. I'll take days off, but pretty much between 8 and 5 Eastern.
Heck yeah. And of course, you can find the Scrub Hub stuff everywhere. Everywhere. It's everywhere.
You can find it everywhere that it is.
Yeah. It's YouTube. It's going to be on Spotify. It's going to be on iTunes, or it's actually, I call it Apple Podcasts. I'm sorry. SoundCloud, your typical streaming platforms.
Cool. Let's get back into it.
Let's go.
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
So, final thoughts of this game. I think we've talked about this longer than I thought we were going to.
Yeah, we had a lot to say.
So, I'm going to make this point. If you're still with us, that is awesome. And I feel like this is a perfect representation of what I thought this would feel like. I love the fact of we can say, hey, here's the beginning of the game. We're playing to this point in the game. You as a viewer or a listener, maybe you can play the game with us. Now we can have a conversation. We can meet in a Discord or Twitter or Instagram, whatever. We can have conversations about this section of the game, and this is awesome because we're just talking about this part. We're not trying to fit this whole game into one podcast.
Yeah, there's just too much, and I think it would do, and sometimes it does a disjustice to the people making these games, right? Or the people that really love Mortal Shell or whatever game we're playing. We would like to slow down, really break the game apart, enjoy it. It's almost like eating a fine meal. You know what I mean? I want to taste the ingredients.
So going in episode 2 after this, we're actually going quicker. We're doing more.
Yes.
Right? So we've already beaten the first boss. There are,
assuming like 3 bosses and then final boss, right?
Right. Yes. So, but we're going to finish the game. And the reason I feel like that's the best is because while we could go through like the next dungeon, one, you may go through a different one than me.
Right.
But 2, the game loop is the same, in all honesty. So we could probably break down a whole episode or part of an episode and just talk about one of the dungeons.
Right.
But why do that when we can probably condense the last part of the game into one episode and still be fair and true to the game?
Yeah.
If we find out we can't do that, then I say we break it up. But I just feel like that's the best.
Mm-hmm.
Because otherwise we're going to be like, oh, we did that dungeon and we ran out and we experienced the same thing we did just now.
Yeah, it's going to, like you were saying, it's got cycles. It's clear you go get the gland, you come out, you have to make it back through the fog and stuff like that. Wash, rinse, and repeat. So we could talk about that for every dungeon and talk about the things we like about each dungeon. But ultimately, I've got things to say, but I don't have too much to say. So I think we've got a pretty good pacing.
Yeah.
And I think you can expect this going forward. Not every game is going to be the same, but you can
some episodes might be longer.
Right.
We might go not longer, like more than 2 episodes.
Right.
Is what I mean.
But rest assured, we are having a lot of discussion about how games, like I said in our episode 0, if you'd like to learn more general information about the podcast, not just so much about Mortal Shell. There's a lot of discussion to be made about, or to be had about, the way games are played and digested. Some games take longer to play to really break them open. Some games you can beat in an hour.
I agree.
So when we pick a game, if you guys pick a game, actually, when we all collectively decide on a game to play together, Doc and I are clearly going to talk about how that game usually gets played and break it apart in a way that is easy to digest for you guys.
Right. And so that means Mortal Shell's 2 episodes. We might come back and review it for another time. But one thing we have to do for Mortal Shell, DLC. We have to play it.
There's DLC?
Oh, buddy. There is DLC, and it is crazy. I have not played it.
Wait a minute.
No. Don't look at it. Don't look at it right now.
Can I see a release date?
It's out. It's already out.
It's already out?
It's been out.
No way.
Yeah.
Are you sure? I swear when I got it on Steam, it wasn't available.
It might not be available on Steam.
Okay.
But it definitely is on PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 4. I'm going to show it to you after this.
Okay.
And so I think we'll have to come back for, if not an immediate following, we will come back to talk about the DLC. Yeah. And that might just be its own episode because, buddy,
I think that would be good.
Gonna be good.
Yeah, I think that would be good to us. Finish the game.
What? Okay.
Have another episode and then come back after we've reviewed the game.
What do you think the DLC is? I already know because I saw it today.
The deal. What can I?
What do you think the DLC is?
It's gotta be. I don't know. It could be. I don't know. I haven't finished the game yet, so I don't really know. Like.
That's fair.
There's clearly got to be like some additional content as far as shells or whatever. But I could almost even see like Janissa being like an extra boss or something like that.
Oh, that'd be wild.
Like, because you always want that. I don't know. Maybe as a Souls player, I wouldn't want like the what's she called? You're like Firelink, the Kindle or who's the woman?
on Firelink Shrine.
It would be sick if she turned
the
into Firekeeper. Yes, if the Firekeeper became like a final boss,
of the fire.
Yeah. So that's always like a cool thought to me. Like if the person helping you the whole time became like the true final boss kind of thing. So that would be super sick. Clearly, there would need to be. I would hope that there would be an extra shell, maybe an extra weapon, depending on how much it costs and how long has the game been out.
It's $7.99, I believe.
$7.99.
The game's been out for almost 2 years.
I can't see a place where they would add an additional shell or an additional weapon without additional playtime content. So for $7.99, I'm assuming.
What if it's infinite playtime?
Like a new game plus? Like I could.
I'll show you, dude.
I could see a new game plus being a thing, like but I haven't beat it yet, so I don't even know if there's a new game plus. So I don't know. Fighting Janisa would be cool, like as a final boss, DLC boss.
Cool. We'll talk about it. We'll come back and
we're gonna come back and talk.
We'll play the DLC because I'm stoked to play.
I like this game,
but I haven't played the DLC. I just saw it today. I didn't know it's been out for 3 months.
That's crazy. You didn't even know.
Yeah, 3 months. And so we'll get through Mortal Shell. You get through, and then we'll both experience the DLC. And if we have to do it simultaneously, I think that'd be cool too.
Oh yeah, because you got the PS5 and everything, so we just do that. Cool. Well, I think that was an awesome, productive, episode 1 Mortal Shell so far.
We had a blast. We hope you had a blast.
Yeah.
Give us feedback. Let us know if there are games you want us to play. Tell us.
Yeah, you literally right now we're just starting. We've got our own list of games that we plan on going through as far as games we love, games we haven't played that we think we would like, and new game releases coming out.
Yep.
We've got
new
calendar.
games coming out. Like if you are like, man, I'm excited to play this game, we probably are too.
Right. But it's just such an open and great time for you to drop your opinions below, what games you want us to play, and be involved. You can get in the Discord. That would probably be the most best open discussion option.
I was gonna say, follow us on the socials, join the Discord. All that stuff's below, or attached in whatever fashion it is.
Right.
And I think we'll just wrap it up.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we're gonna ramble, and there's no need for that.
Which we will.
We've been here for well over an hour.
Which is crazy. Just goes by.
I think an hour needs to be
pretty hard cutoff.
You let us know. Did you enjoy it? Would you rather be shorter? Would you rather us play the whole game and then talk about it? I don't want to do that.
I don't necessarily love doing that because I don't play games like that.
We'll address that, I'm sure, several times. But again, let's just end instead of rambling. How do we end?
Well, I mean, the best piece of advice that we can give anyone is if you're not good,
get good.
Get good.